Hello, Brian Zumlish, your Chief Superintendent here. Today, I'm joined by members of the Racial Justice team, and we're going to be talking to you about Black History Month. And joining me, there are many individuals, but I want to start with our Liaison of Arts and Culture, Ms. Holly Sheely. And Ms. Sheely, can you tell us a little bit about Black History Month?
Well, sure, Brian, thanks so much. This is the second year across the district that we're really making this an initiative. So pleased with everything that all the schools participated in last year, as well as a number of our non-school based sites. So what I'd like to do is actually pass it over to some of our team members. And I also want to let everyone know that we've got 3 of our key teacher leads from our schools that have taken a lead in Division 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're going to share some great information for this year on Black History Month. So maybe I'll pass it over to Matt to talk a little bit about the difference between what Black History Month means and the work we do in racial justice.
Thanks, Holly. I'm so excited for Black History Month this year in our district. And then just as Holly mentioned there, we really want people to focus this year on celebrating Black history, celebrating and amplifying Black voices, celebrating and amplifying the Black voices that are in our buildings, that are from our past, and many of the community members that are right here in Calgary, Alberta, and Canada. This is a time to amplify these voices and really put a positive focus and celebrations surrounding the Black community and culture.
No, that's amazing. And thank you for that background information, Matt. I know I reflect back upon last year, and last year was the first year in the district where the expectation is that every school would do something related to Black history. And it was fantastic. I remember going out to visit Our Lady of the Assumption School, and the children all the way from lower elementary all the way to junior high had different planned experiences and were excited to share their learning with me. I want to ask a consultant, Mr. Dr. Lance Dixon, a question here. And so why is it important that we recognize and celebrate Black History Month?
Well, thanks, Dr. Zumlish. History's story, isn't it? History is a story about people whose lives make a difference to those who walk with them. It's a human story of tragedy and hope, of suffering and resilience. It's a story about song and silence, and it's about who we are as human beings. And so we learn so much from listening into people's story about their particular trials, tribulations, the particular way in which they've come to see the world and each other. And it enriches our understanding of our own humanity. And so this moment is an opportunity for us to listen in to a particular part of the chapter of human story. And this is why it's so exciting that we dedicate ourselves to really learn and lean into the story, the experience of our Black brothers and sisters.
No, thank you for that, Dr. Dixon. And that reminds me, last year as I participated in Black History Month, I learned more about Mr. John Ware, who was a Southern Alberta horseman, a very talented rancher, one of the first Black participants in the Calgary Stampede. And it was through that story that I came to learn and know more about John Ware. And so I hope that everyone hears stories and gets excited to learn about our history. And when I think of our representatives that are here, we have an individual representing elementary, junior high, and high school. So we're going to start with Toulouse. And Toulouse, if you don't mind telling us a little bit about what would an elementary student, what are some of the experiences that we may see in an elementary school setting?
Thank you, Dr. Brian Zumlish. That's a very good question. In the elementary school, we always see Christ in each of our students. And that is when our students look up to us, the professionals, as role models. They see how we act. They see how we behave. So that is one first experience, how we relate to them as individual beings made in the image of Christ. Some of the things that we propose to do this year is when it comes to the study of saints. That's a big one for the elementary level. We're looking at Saint Josephine Bakita. You know, a feast day is February 8th. She's from Sudan, and that is someone that is hugely represented with our population within Calgary Catholic. So we're going to be celebrating her. We're going to be doing some activities, learning more about her. We're probably going to have a spirit day where we're going to put on our colors, which are gold and purple, just to reference that immaculate saint. We also have Saint Martin de Porres, which is one of our school. His feast day is November 3rd, colors of white and burgundy. Our kids like to do that. Also, when we have our morning announcements, that is a time when we're saying our prayers and we're celebrating our Canadian Black people. We're telling them what it means, you know, and it's just authentic conversations, very, very simple conversations we're carrying out in our classes. When we're having CCC in our cohorts, we're celebrating Black History Month. We're having a presentation to talk about, to show them examples of the Black Canadians that have worked so hard, to celebrate them, for them to see that they can be in positions like this. Every child matters at the elementary school within Calgary Catholic for all of us. And that's what we hope to see. Thank you, Dr. Brian Zumas.
I can feel the energy. I can feel like you're going to burst out of the camera there. And so anyone watching this video, no matter what school you're at, you need to get a hold of Tolu and have her come over to your school. Like, that's amazing energy. So thank you for sharing that. Natasha, we're going to go to you. Junior high. What are some of the things junior high students in a junior high setting that they may experience for Black History Month? Oh, you're on mute, but that's okay. Still too excited. We're all excited about what we just heard.
It's hard to follow, Tolu, that what a wonderful capture of everything that we hope to do. It's about, no matter what grade level you're in, it's about celebrating our Black voices, our Black culture, our Black resilience, our Black brilliance, and our Black joy. So in terms of what we want to do in a junior high setting, I'm at a fine arts school, but it doesn't matter. We want to empower our youth. And so it's really important to give junior highs choice and voice. They have a voice, so give them the mic. So in terms of what we want to do, similar to Tolu, morning announcements are key in terms of seizing those opportunities for the students to share what they've learned about our Canadian heroes and about heroes representative of our population. Now, Tolu talked about Sudan. We have a huge Nigerian population, so that's really important. For our school, we're bringing in a Nigerian rapper who was recently recognized as one of 20 compelling Calgarians. I know that the district is bringing in a dear friend of mine, Simone Saunders, who's a brilliant visual artist, and everybody should go, that is an adult, to contemporary art and see her display unity, and we'll hear more about her. And it was just really important for me as an artist teacher to showcase how the arts can be a vehicle of change. And so we're trying to bring in different artists from different platforms to talk about their Canadian identity, what it's like being a Black Canadian on the prairies, and showcasing their talent so that students can see themselves in who we expose them to. And of course, the rest of what we plan to do in terms of TA challenges, homeroom challenges, etc., that's going to come from our leadership group themselves. So we're developing with the students this year. So that's as much as we've planned as teachers and admin, but we are looking to our students to help us fully develop what we plan to bring to the school this year.
No, that sounds amazing. And thank you so much, Natasha. Cheryl, you're probably thinking I'm going to ask you what's going to happen in a high school, but that would be way too easy, way too easy. Okay, I will. I'll ask you two things. I'm going to ask you two questions. Like, what can the high school experience look like related to Black History Month? And the second question is, you know, if you're a high school teacher, where could you go to find some resources if you're not sure, you know, where to start or what to do?
Thank you, Dr. Zumlas. Thank you. Well, here at Father Lacombe, we've been celebrating Black History Month for the past 4 years. This is our 4th year. And every year we're working on something new and exciting. The years gone, we've displayed posters just to give students a visual representation that, hey, something is happening. Black History Month is here, and it just kind of captures their attention. I remember hearing a story about one of our ES1 students seeing Viola Desmond on a poster and recognizing that that was on our $10 bill. And that just kind of connected him with the poster and with what was happening. So that was really a neat experience to hear about. And so this year at Father Lacombe, we want to build on what we've built on in the past, and we'll have additional posters put up. We'll have our guest speakers that our district has included on a district level. I've included a comedian who will be coming in and sharing her experience with life and just in general, and her story, and helping students see that, hey, there is somebody that looks like me that is doing amazing things out in the community. And so that's my goal, is to help students be represented and be comfortable in who they are, and know that whoever they are, they can accomplish anything they choose. They'll see people from athletes to politics to businessmen and women, and be empowered to want to emulate them. So that's my goal, and to be comfortable in who they are. Like, you are who you are, God's made you who you are, and be comfortable and see all the amazing things that people are doing, and hear their story of trials and triumph, and be empowered to move through that and be better people and better contributing people to society. So that's what we're doing at Father Lacombe, and I'm excited to see the kids, our students' faces, and to see them experience even our TA challenge. I will be putting together a bingo, and I'll be giving them characteristics of people from history, and on our posters, and through our announcements, we'll be talking about people and places and events, and hopefully they're all listening, because our bingo is going to be at the end of the month, and they'll get a prize to see, if they can accurately know these people's names, and have fun with it as well. So resources, they can get lots of resources on our EPD website. We're currently putting together school-based approaches that they can do as a school, and specific subject areas. So math, what can they do in math? Here's some problem-solving questions that they can do in math, or plotting coordinates that will create a Black History Month theme that they'll be recognizing. We have ELA in books and projects they can do, and social studies discussions that they can have in discussions, and see the difference of what happened in the past compared to what's happening now in our world, and lots of things that they can tap into. And we are more than willing to hear your story, to hear what you're doing in your school. So we appreciate any and all feedback that you have. So be prepared, and watch out for our Black History Month website.
No, thank you. That sounds amazing. And linked to that, I just wanted to say, when you talked about Viola Desmond, that was something like Black History Month is not only for our students, but it's for our staff too. It's for all of us. And I know, last year I asked, who is this lady on the $10 bill? And so did the research, and there's resources that exist that your team has put together, and learned that she was an activist here in Canada, I believe in Nova Scotia, and she refused to leave a cinema where it was only the white people could sit. Right. And so that was a really important part of our history. And it goes back to what Dr. Dixon was talking about, is knowing the story. And as Canadians, we should kind of know something about what's on our money, so that we can tell other people that come to us, like, why is that lady on your money? Like, we all know the Queen, and what she represents and why she's on our money, right? But some of these other individuals, and that's a perfect example of why we have Black History Month. And so to end our time together this morning, oh, go ahead, Dr. Dixon.
Sorry, Dr. Zumas. I just wanted to speak to that because that's such an important point that you raise. And it kind of comes back to something that Natasha said as well, that I think it's really good to emphasize, particularly for those teachers who are just entering into Black History Month as part of their educational program or calendar. This is not just about the Black student sitting in your classroom. It's not just about the students. It is about us as a community, learning who we are together. And particularly as the Racial Jedi team, we're very conscious that students are still learners in this experience. And it's really important for them to be the learners and the teachers being the teachers, of shaping that space for all of us to engage in the conversation. And not just putting the burden on those 2 or 3 Black students who are sitting in the classroom. They're not representing the whole story, and they shouldn't have that responsibility to do so. Conversely, when you have a classroom maybe of 16 Black students, don't forget the voices of the non-Black students who also have something to bring to the conversation as well. So just because students may look Black doesn't mean that they are the be-all and end-all of the story. And just because a student looks white doesn't mean they have something to offer to this as well. And that speaks to the wonderful diaspora that's represented even in this circle right here. All of us relate to the Black community experience. And some of people may pass me by thinking, well, no, Lance doesn't have anything to do with this, And then when you hear my story, you're like, oh, yeah, you know what? Maybe there's deeper connections here than just the color of our skin. Maybe it's about the culture. And within that, the story that we all want to share. So hopefully Black History Month is a way for all of us to reclaim our stories together and move forward with a sense, as Tolu so brilliantly spoke about, the future that we hold as God's family.
No, I love that. And, I love what Tolu also said. We're all made in the image and likeness of our Lord Jesus Christ. And this is just an opportunity to learn more about our Black individuals in our community and in our history, and to share the story. So we're going to wrap it up with 2 final comments. Matt, anything you'd like, Mr. Sawyer, anything you'd like to share as we end, and then we'll go to Holly to end the video today.
I just welcome everybody to have so much fun this month, and to not be afraid to share what you're doing. Share the joy that you're doing with your colleagues, with your community, with your parents, with us. We'd love to hear as much, and to remember that the celebration of Black history, people, culture extends beyond February. So I really challenge us to start thinking about, what does that look like as we transition into March and April and May and June, as we move throughout the year, and how we can continue with it, use this as momentum and continue with it as we go up through the school year.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. And to end today, over to you, Ms. Sheely.
Well, I think everyone summed up pretty much what I was thinking too, specifically Matt at the end, is that just because February comes to a close does not mean Black history has to come to a close, as well as all of our other celebratory months, Indigenous Peoples Month, Asian Heritage Month as well. So really, please, everyone, try to include those throughout the entire school year. And there are a wealth of resources and information and people at your fingertips to seek out advice, knowledge, questions, and to collaborate with you on the work that you're doing throughout this month and the other months as well. And I want to wish everyone a really great Black History Month. Super excited to see what schools are doing and to get out to the schools and to see what everybody has done this year.
Thank you to everyone who's been part of the call this morning. And thank you to all of our staff out there in our schools for designing exciting, meaningful learning opportunities for children and for our adults in our building. So I'm excited. I look forward to, I'm not sure who I'm going to learn about this year, but I promise next year's video, there'll be a couple of new Black individuals that I'll be able to reference. And just so, thank you, Cheryl, for mentioning someone that I did learn about last year, Viola Desmond. Thank you so much. So please, peace and blessing on the rest of your day. God bless everyone. Take care.